Hello, this is Mr. D'Amico. I am going to do a simple vector instructional project using the program VECTR, VECTR, that I have suggested my students use during this time that we're away from school. So I wanted you to look at the final product, what it looks like at the end, and I've asked you in the past to analyze these things. Meaning just look at it and simply see what it's made of. It's made of several parts. There's an oval at the top with a white area where the just a see-through area. There's a little decorative triangle on the shaft of the key. Then there's the stem or the shaft of the key itself. Then there's the part that goes into the lock to unlock it. And all of these things are made separately, and they're all made of very simple shapes. So when you analyze an object, that's all you have to do is look at the object and figure out what shapes it takes to make the object. You may remember me saying it several times during class that the three basic shapes that make up every single thing in the universe is a square, a triangle, and a circle. So if you look at this, we've got a circle, several more circles, a square, a rectangle, another square, lots of little squares, and another circle at the bottom. So it looks like a key. Everyone will think it's a key, but yet it's just a combination of a bunch of circles and squares. So let's get started. The very first thing I'd like to do is the top, the oval at the top. So I'm going to use, in VECTR, I'm going to use the ellipse tool, and I'm simply going to draw out that shape roughly like I've done before. Alright, currently the shape is a dark green color, but I'm going to change that background to solid black because that's just the color I'm working with, and I want to make sure the border is, there's nothing on the border or the stroke on the outside. It's 0 point, which means nothing. Okay, so I'm going to draw another small circle for the inside of the key, and you notice that there's two of them. It's easiest to make if I hold down the shift key and I draw a simple shape like that, which is a circle. I'm going to make sure that there is no border, and the color of that shape is going to be white. Of course, you can't see it at this point, but I'm going to click on it. I'm going to then right click with my arrow, and I'm going to duplicate this shape so that there's two of them. They're currently side by side. Probably ought to give it a color while we're looking at it. So I'm just going to overlap that shape a little bit, and you know that all of a sudden it becomes more of a complicated shape that looks like the one in the picture above. I'm going to select these two objects. When I select them, the program gives me some options at the top to flip things, to send something to the back or to the front, or I could use a variation of the Pathfinder tool and unite these two objects, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to click on Unite or Add Together, and now these are one shape instead of two, and I'm going to give them a white color once again. And I'm just going to bring those circles into the top key so that it now looks like what you'd expect it to look like. And you'll notice that when I move this around, it gives me an idea of where I can center the object, so it's pretty well centered. Okay, the next thing I'm going to work on is the shaft or the stem of the key, and that is just a really long rectangle. So I'm going to click on the rectangle tool above, and I'm just going to draw this long rectangle. Alright, so that's going to be the body of the key, and well, I guess I didn't draw it. Okay, let's try this again. Alright, so there's the body of the key, and currently it's green. I'm going to change that to black, and it has no border, which I'm fine with. And now I'm going to just link those two together. They're not united yet. This is still a separate shape from the shaft. But what I can do is click on the black area, then click on the stem or the shaft of the key, hold down the shift key, make sure that both objects are selected at the same time, which you can see they are, and then I'm going to unite them. So now this is one shape instead of two. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to work on is this little decorative shape up here. It is simply a rectangle. I'm going to draw the rectangle. I'm going to hold down the shift key to make sure it's square. And once again, I'm going to change that color also to black because that is the color of the key so far. When I click on the object, I can bring my cursor to one of the corners. It allows me to rotate the object. I'm going to hold down the shift key and rotate the object until it is rotated perfectly up and down. I'm going to move it onto the key, such as this. At this point, if I want, I can reduce the size of it so that it's not too big. And now it is centered with everything else. I can now select both the key, the shaft of the key, and that little square, and once again unite or add it together so that now it's all one piece. So far I have only two pieces. I have this double circle at the top and black. Okay, so I'm going to make a little bobble at the end down here. Select the circle, hold down the shift key, draw a little circle, kind of make it in proportion so that it's not too big or too small. Guess what color? Yes, it's going to be black. So I'm just going to bring this up to the shaft. The program tells me that it's centered with the rest of the shaft. I'm going to select those two objects and I'm going to unite that as well. So now I still have only two objects after uniting all of them. I have the white area up here and I have the black area, which is the rest of the key. You notice we're getting rather close. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is draw a rectangle for the part of the key that sticks into the lock. And I'm just going to draw it out like this and just kind of size it proportionally about how I want it. That looks good. And then I'm going to zoom in. The zoom is located at the very bottom of the screen, and you'll notice that it allows you to zoom in pretty far. I can zoom over if I want to see what the other key looks like. Now, to create the shape that is going to be the intricate part of the key, the part that actually unlocks everything, I can use the pen tool. Okay, so on the pen tool, I'm just going to create a separate shape. I'm going to hold down the shift key. I'm going to create kind of a T shape here. All I'm doing is holding down the shift key, and the program is doing everything else that I need it to do for me. Alright, so there's my T shape, and I'm going to color it black, as you might imagine. And I'm just going to put that onto the key like that. Click on it with the left button, right click with the mouse, duplicate that shape, and then bring it down here. And the program will tell me when the two objects are lined up perfectly. I'm very happy with that. Alright, and the last portion that I need to do is this little part that sticks out. I'm just going to make a shape, and I'm going to put it like that, and I'm going to select the big green area and the small piece that I just drew. I'm going to make those black. Okay, so now I can select all of these things that I just drew minus the shaft of the key. So I'm going to hold down the shift key and deselect the back side of the key, the shaft. And I'm going to take these shapes that I just created, and it allows me to unite them. so that now they're one piece instead of a bunch of pieces. I'm going to put them onto the key, such as that. So now I'm going to zoom out. Now that to me looks a little big, so I'm going to hold down this area down here that I just created looks a little large, so I'm going to hold down the shift key. I'm going to reduce the size of this this locking portion, and I'm going to just slide it up the stem. And the last thing I'm going to do is take the two things, hold down the shift key, select the stem of the key and the part that goes into the lock mechanism, and unite it. Okay, so at this point this whole thing is one piece except for the white circles above, and what I can do with that is I can select both objects, the white circles and the shaft of the key, and I can right click on the key and group it. So there we have a completed key. It's not exactly like the original. It may look better actually than the original, but that's how it's done. It's not difficult. All you need to do is break down the object into its individual pieces and decide how they go together. Now this is a simple object because it's kind of square. Other things that are more complicated would be more difficult to draw, but I wanted you to see how something simple could be drawn. I hope this was instructional for you, and I hope you have a nice day. Thank you.